The month of May is brought to you by Peak. Peak original equipment technology is formulated with the same corrosion inhibiting technology that protected your vehicle when it left the factory. It provides excellent protection against rust and corrosion to all cooling system metals, including aluminum, and is fully compatible with other extended life coolants. With its line of premium 50/50 pre-diluted and concentrated coolant specifically designed to match the technology and color requirements of your specific vehicle, and color cues on the packaging and label in a list of covered vehicles make it easy to identify the right match for your vehicle. Find out more information about all Peak antifreeze and coolants at peakauto.com. And Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, the first dynamic competition for drag racing fans. Go to dragracebracketbonanza.com. It's free. When the fields are set on Saturday night at the Route 66 Nationals presented by Peak, pick all your round-by-round winners in all 4 pro categories. Sign up at dragracebracketbonanza.com at the link below. So the weather here wasn't exactly as optimistic as what we would have expected coming into this weekend. It actually really spiked over the last few days, and then just today alone was brutal, not only for the conditions in the heat, but the humidity as well. This was a challenging day, not just for the drivers on the track or the crew members turning the wrenches, but for the people just walking around. It was about 84, feeling like 91. I heard down in Indianapolis it was similar conditions. Not exactly what we would have wanted, but that doesn't take away from the fact that today was probably one of the most chaotic qualifying turnouts that I could have asked for, especially considering this weekend with the Indianapolis 500. Incredible bump day there. We're going to have the video out soon for that from Kevin and Brody. Be sure to go watch that and support the channel with them as they get set for that, because it was a crazy day there. It's an even crazier day here. So let's get into it, because we have not only the top fuel qualifying and so forth with Funny Car Pro Stock or Pro Stock Bike, we had the call out for Pro Stock, as well as the typical too fast, too tasty challenge. So looking right into qualifying for Pro Stock Motorcycle, Matt Smith holds on to that #1 qualifying spot from Friday night. He goes #1 with a 7:08. He came into Q3, had a good run, put a new tire on it in Q4, so that's why that run wasn't as good, as because they were breaking in a new tire. Gage Herrera, #2. Ellie Tonglet rounds out 3rd. Angie Smith in 4th with Hector Rana Jr. back there in 5th. Richard Gadsden jumps his way up to 6th. John Hull 7th. Chase Van Sant had a really good run in Q3. What would have bumped him up, I believe, in the top 5. They had to end up throwing that run out because it read like he had it under a second on the 60-foot time, and that wasn't correct, so they had to throw the run out. He ends up down in the 8th position. 9th, you're going to find Steve Johnson. 10th, Mark Ingerson. Chris Bostick, 11th. Ryan Torno in 12th. The Rat was back this weekend. 13th is going to be Ryan Ayler. 14th, John Evaristo. 15th, Wesley Wells. And Lance Bonham is the last rider in 16th. 17th, you're going to find Gino Scali in his return race. Not a good weekend for him. He goes home empty-handed. 18th is going to be E.G. Kawakami. In Pro Stock, Erica Enders holds on to her #1 qualifying spot. It's going to be kind of a recurring thing. Erica Enders, #1. Troy Coughlin Jr. holds on to 2nd. 3rd, Greg Anderson. 4th, Jet Coughlin. 5th, Aaron Stanfield. 6th, Christian Quadra. 7th, Dallas Glenn. And 8th, Jerry Tucker. 9th, you're going to find David Quadra. 10th, Eric Latino. 11th, Matt Hartford. 12th, Fernando Quadra Jr. 13th, Chris McGahey. 14th, Derek Kramer. 15th, Kenny Delco, and 16th, it's John DeFlorian who bumps his way in after a good Q4 run. Mason McGahey, another failure for the McGahey crew. He goes home empty-handed, and so is Tina Wild Gus, who's still trying to get used to driving a Pro Stock car. She ends up 18th. In Funny Car, Austin Brock stays #1. Bob Taskus the 3rd and 2nd. Paul Lee rounds down 3rd. John Force ends up in the 4th position. 5th, you're going to find Alexis Joria. 6th is Ron Capps. 7th, Blake Alexander. 8th, Cruz Pedregon. 9th, you'll find Daniel Wilkerson. 10th, Chad Green. 11th, Matt Hagan. J.R. Todd, 12th. Buddy Hole ends 13th. 14th, you'll find Bobby Bodie. 15th is Dave Richards. And 16th is Jack Wyatt. Justin Schrieffer is going to end up 17th. And then last is going to be Chris King, who is going to come up here for Q4. Turns out they had issues back at the trailer before they even left, so they had to stay. They figured out what it was, tried to fix it, didn't have enough time, so he was not able to come up to Q4 and try and bump his way into the field. From what I was told by one of the crew people on the team, this weekend just has not gone right for them, and the results show 18th here in Chicago, and a disappointing result for that operation. Lastly, in Top Fuel, The big story, one of them is going to be TJ Zizzo holds on number 1 qualifier. His first ever number 1 qualifier on the weekend as his dad's birthday. On the weekend remembering Don Schumacher. You saw how emotional he was there. He holds on to that. A huge moment for him and his family and that whole team. Clay Milliken rounds out second. Third, you're going to find Doug Coletta. Fourth is going to be Sean Langdon. Fifth is Sean Reed. Antron Brown 6th. Steve Torrance 7th. Tony Schumacher ends up the top half. 9th, you're going to find Dan Mercier. 10th is Billy Torrance, 11th, Jasmine Salinas, 12th, Josh Hart, 13th is Cody Crow, and again had a really good run on Friday, so a really good result for him early in his career. Justin Ashley, a disappointing 14th, and that's kind of the name of the game of this weekend. If you did not do good on Friday, you weren't going to really improve much on Saturday. The conditions were so bad, if you could tell by the results, no one really moved anywhere. It was just so hard for anybody to get a good run on this racetrack, because even right now, the heat's still getting worse. A lot of drivers saying the conditions are going to start off the same way tomorrow and then get better as the day goes on. I've heard that about every single time I've been to one of these events. Looking back further, Kyle worked till 15th. Tony Stewart almost missing the show. He ends up 16th. Has to settle for an 8:52. He did improve, but not by much, so he does stay in the show. Now, if you've listened to this, then you're going to notice one thing. There's somebody missing from that grid. That's because they didn't make the show. That is Brittany Force. I believe, if I'm correct, from Alan Reinhart said, it's about 138 race streak that she's made the show, and she fails to. On the race where Peak picks up their sponsorship and joins them for this event, to have this happen to him is an absolute gut punch, not just for her, not just for the team, but all of John Force Racing, considering that's one of their flagship cars, and to see it not make the show is a huge disappointment for her and that team. 17th Doug Foley, 18th Brittany Force. She smokes into Q3, came into Q4, needed to make it. Smoked tires again in Q4, kept her foot in it, just trying to hope she could get a better time. No go. She ends up 17th, or 18th. 19th Krista Baldwin. 20th Luigi Novelli. 21st Terry Totten, and 22nd is Travis Shoemake. We do have highlights, we do have interviews. Let's hear from them, but first, a word from our sponsor for this weekend and the entire month of May, Peak Auto.
Protect your vehicle with Peak Original Equipment Technology. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle.
Matt Smith, 102. 6.708, 201 miles an hour. Matt Smith was just 102 at the 60-foot clock. Greg Anderson with better numbers low. Erica with better numbers down there, 6.548, 209, and Erica goes back to the top. .907, 332 miles an hour, and Jason Logan will not be on Dancing with the Stars. Austin Prock goes back to the top. He puts Cornwall and Chevrolet #1. How about 373? Hey, Chicago, TJ's back on top. 3.736, 331 miles an hour. Zizou, #1. Justin Ashley goes 413, 213 miles an hour, shutting off early. And TJ at his home race, his season debut, hey, he's got 6 points. He can climb his way into the countdown to the championship if he keeps this up.
Reaction time advantage goes to Gadsden 28 to Tonglet's 50. 60-foot advantage goes to Gadsden as well, and it is Gadsden on a hole shot. 682.9 at 200, beating a 681.9 at 199.52. Richard Gadsden goes to the final of the Mission Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge. And Wilkerson, oh man, that is absolutely sickening. Wilkerson goes red. Hagan just annihilates the tires, and Hagan advances. And Doug Coletta goes up in smoke, and Clay Milliken's love affair with the city of Chicago continues at 395, 253 miles an hour. He's heading to the final. A 008 light for Richard Gadsden. He stood in the ring, but he will not be in the ring. He's going over the top rope because there goes Gage Herrera. A little wiggle at the end. 673.3 at 201 miles an hour as Gadsden runs a 679.5. Gage Herrera roars down for another victory on this season. And the DHL Supra explodes off the starting line, and J.R. Todd says, "Pay up, sucker." 404 with a 0 at 316 miles an hour. Hagan runs 410. Clay Milliken smokes the tires, and the Skagit Wagon collects more trophies to put in back. 383.1, 320 miles an hour for Ashley.
I talked to you right before we started this about how difficult that track was out there. Both Q3 and Q4, I believe only 1 to 2 people made an improvement, and it was barely anything, not even worth a position. Just how difficult were the track conditions today, and how difficult is it from your perspective wearing all that leather and a helmet out there, and it's like feeling 91 degrees sitting on the starting line?
Yeah, I mean, today was obviously the warmest day so far, and I think tomorrow's be the same. So the track was a little greasy, and our bikes with the Van Science head is the heaviest combo out there, so it's hard to get it moving on that surface. So I wasn't able to 60 foot like I normally could, which is why we kind of lacked a little bit on ET wise. But all in all, we all raced on the same racetrack, and the track's getting better and better. You know, I wish they ran here more often. You know, it's a beautiful facility, and I'm just glad we're back here. But all in all, the track's gonna get better. I mean, tomorrow's gonna be hot, and yeah, having to wear these leathers in that heat, it's sometimes it makes you not want to race.
Broke the string. Gage had 11 straight #1s heading into the event. You're the guy who breaks it. A number of good runs today. How exciting is this for you heading into eliminations tomorrow?
We're really excited. I mean, we have a really good bike. You know, we like I said yesterday, we've been testing a lot, and it shows because we're getting better and better and better. We knew Q4 was going to be a throw-out run, so we stuck a brand new tire on to scuff one in. Just in case something happens. You never know if you're going to puncture a tire or something. And so we scuffed another one in and still went 106, but it shook real hard in second. So, but we'll put our good tire back on and be ready for racing tomorrow.
What challenges does kind of the weather, as obviously today got hot, tomorrow's going to be pretty warm. Talk about those challenges. What do you have to kind of be ready for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if lane choice means anything. We all prefer to, we like, you know, to say we got lane choice, but ultimately both sides have been really good. I mean, I've been 105 to 102 to 104 in either lane, so it doesn't matter, I don't think, lane conditions. It's just if we develop a crosswind or something like that, or somebody holds the track down, you know, that would be a factor. So all in all, track is normal, like normal. This place has always been good to me. I seem to come up here and run really well. Typically because you got no air and the track's always tight, so you can throw about everything you can in it. So it benefits me, so and it's showing.
Yeah, Jack?
Going into this event, obviously, Erica called her shot and decided to take on you in the first round. Getting to not only defeat her, which is somebody you've been on the warpath with these last couple of years, and then not only that, but then go up against her teammate, who's having a really good weekend so far. How much of a satisfaction is that, knowing that KB Titan already is at such a good level compared to where Elite was already last year?
It feels fantastic. It just, you know, we're not backing into these wins. That's what feels so good about it. We're earning them. We're going out and just flat earning them. So that feels great when you go out and have a race day that you can look back and say we just flat out raced the competition. That's a proud day for the entire race team. And right now KB Titan is, you know, they're good. They're great. And we're going to be a handful for that other group this year. I'm not going to say what's going to happen down the road, but right now we're as good as we can be, and hopefully we can rack up some wins here and make a better product even as we go through the race year. So we're excited, and race wins to us make us want to go home and work harder. That's the cool thing about it. You go home and try and make a better product for the next race, and you know, hopefully you come to the next race and you have a better shot again. So that's what pro stock racing is. It's the baddest class I think there is out here, and it's so much fun to race in it, and it feels so great at the end of the day when you conquer it.
And then also your sponsor teammate right now is over in Indianapolis trying to make the Fast 12 for the Indianapolis 500 as he gets ready for the double.
Yeah.
How good would it feel?
Kind of looks like he's holding his own over there too.
Well, he almost lost an engine in qualifying today.
So, but he was second in practice yesterday, from what I heard. So he, I don't know how is qualifying going on right now, or what's going on right now.
I believe right now he's at least 7th or 9th.
7th. You got to be 12th. Is that what you got to be for
Fast
tomorrow?
12 to make
okay,
the
so
shootout.
he's looking good to make it to there, and obviously he's a hell of a wheel man. He can drive the wheels out of anything he gets in, and hopefully someday I'll get him in one of my cars. We're going to take a shot at this, and I guarantee he'll do just a great job with that too. So, amazing individual, and obviously an amazing outfit to be associated with, the Hendrick Group. They're the top of the chain, man. I respect the hell out of them, and they've done a ton for me, and hope I can race for them for a long time and hold my end of the bargain up.
And how good would it feel to put the icing on the cake to be able to deliver that if he's able to pull it off, and then you're able to go back and not only give him this, but if tomorrow you win the Route 66
That would certainly be a huge weekend, and it's not out of the question. It could happen, so I'm going to do all I can to hold my end of the bargain up, and they always do. So I got a lot of confidence in them. So just got to get the job done here myself, and then we can look forward to a big week at home.
So obviously you call out Greg Anderson yesterday, and you come up short in the first round. Not only the fact that it's Greg, but how much of a gut punch is it to call your shot like that and then come up short in the first round knowing that you probably have one of the best cars this weekend?
Well, fortunately, that stuff doesn't define who we are. So we tuck our tail, we go back to the trailer, and we learn and we figure it out. Definitely not an ideal situation. If you saw me driving down the racetrack, that thing was sideways, and I was taking out the guard wall before I was lifting next to him. So I didn't really know what was going on over there when I finally got the car straightened up, and I saw him out my windshield, and unfortunate situation, obviously. But again, tomorrow's the important day.
You've seen so far this year that the work that you and your team have put in over the offseason has really started to come around, and you've seen how well you've run race after race after race. How much of a payoff is it for you and your crew to see just how well you guys are running, considering that I believe you're second in the points coming into this event? Just how much rewarding is that factor now, seeing that you're here with a mission Too Fast, Too Tasty, you can really have a strong shot at winning this race tomorrow?
It's definitely rewarding. It's, my guys, I mean, they work hard whether, we run good or bad. They stay positive and know that we're a team capable of winning anytime that we show up. But I feel like that we were on track to run like this, at the beginning of last season, and just had those, those instances in Pomona that set us way back to where now that Todd and John are finally getting to build on that tune-up that they started with last season and just kind of fine-tuning it. But we're definitely not where we want to be performance-wise. We're still working on it, and we even tested some things here this weekend that we haven't run yet this season. So hopefully that pays off for us going into the summer months.
So yesterday you had 2 really solid runs, and today you had 2 really solid runs in the heat. How much of a confidence booster is that for you and your team as well, going into the summer months, considering you're going to have some really hot tracks coming up, and knowing that already this early on with this track condition that you might have one of the stronger cars to go face off guys like JR, Todd, and so forth?
Yeah, our car definitely runs really well in the heat. I mean, we won Phoenix, and that track was hot, greasy, nasty, bumpy, so we can definitely get down the racetrack in tricky conditions. So, today proved that again on that last run. The first run, it was close, but really nobody went down the racetrack that first one. So it's definitely a tough business being a crew chief when you get tricky track conditions like this. It usually takes about 1 or 2 runs to really reel it in. So, as this track, I believe it's going to be hot tomorrow, but the track's going to progressively get better, I believe, just because we're going to have more runs on it, and this track sits for a whole year before we come back and run on it. So it's going to continue to lay rubber down, and hopefully it'll promote some great racing.
Jerry?
So this season is almost looking a lot similar to how you guys performed last year. You guys didn't have the good start at Gainesville. You pick it up all the way up to here. Last year, though, towards the end of the summer, heading into the countdown, it really started to fall off, and the rest of the field catched up to you and had your own fight for the championship. What have you and your team done to ensure that that's not going to happen again this year, and that you still have that good chance going into the countdown and running for this championship?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no excuses, right? We didn't get the job done last year, and we should have. But, I mean, look, this year we're in a little bit of a different position than we were before. We have some of the resources that we didn't have before, and we started prepping for that really in the off season. And now early on in this year, everything we do is with an intent and a purpose for later on in the year. So we learned from some of those mistakes we made last year, but now we have the right parts and pieces in place that we have now and that are scheduled to come right around that time. In addition to that, a really good example of that is we do have a new car that's coming. Our car is now 3 years old as of this year, so it's been time for a new one. I think that'll be helpful, but just a conjunction of things, and look, you can't experience, right? Experience in addition to that is always really helpful. So I think we'll be in a good position, but it's going to be a tough battle out there. It's definitely the best top fuel field I've ever seen. So come the countdown, everyone's going to be on their A game.
So when you come here, you're like the single car team that's running part-time, that doesn't have the resources that everybody else has within the sport. To see the results that you guys have, to sit here #1 qualifying, to know just how good the car is running and how strong it is, what do you think about when you sit back and reflect on that and think about being in this moment, in this position?
God, I got to tell you, if I didn't have a splitting headache right now, after that tire shake, I would probably think a little differently. But yeah, I mean, we work really hard at this. I kind of explained that to you guys yesterday. This isn't our first rodeo. We've been doing this for 44 years, you know? Sure, it's my first hat. All that's fantastic. But we work really hard. We go to the shop to work. There's nobody on our team, all volunteer team of 20 people or so, that don't come to our shop with the attitude to work really hard and get things done. And that's what we do. So I'm not totally shocked. I'm not totally surprised. Happy to be in the show. Happy to race Tony Stewart. Fantastic.
And that is going to wrap it up here from the Route 66 Nationals. Let's look quickly looking into tomorrow. The track conditions have been really challenging this weekend for everybody. We came into this looking like the low 70s maybe. It was going to be a really cool track conditions, a really comfortable track conditions. That went away in a huge way. Just brutal conditions for everybody, and it caught a lot of teams off guard, especially Brittany, Forrest, and so forth. It's going to be a big storyline going into tomorrow to see how some of these teams shake up. Austin Prock has a good hot car setup. J.R. Todd says he has a good hot track setup. Not just that, he believes with these track conditions it's going to become much of a driver's race, which is what he likes. He's able to stomp the throttle and just hang on for dear life and make it down the racetrack. Clay Milliken as well, really good hot track setup. He's been very adamant about that if you listen to our interview from Friday night. So there's going to be a lot of stuff to look forward to in this race. I have a lot to think about in my drag racing bracket bonanza picks, which, by the way, go sign up today. The brackets have just opened. I still have to fill out mine. It's going to take all night trying to think about how to do that. But man, oh man, is it going to be rough. I do want to point out, lastly, I forgot about this. Let's look at the All-Star call-out, which you would have seen, just to give you the recap off of that. First pairing was Derek Kramer and Christian Quadra. Those two were automatically because of the fact that they were the last pair to get decided. Christian Quadra smokes the tires. Derek Kramer steals the win. After that, it was Matt Harford and Aaron Stanfield. Matt Harford takes that. Then it went down to Dallas Glenn and Troy Coughlin Jr. Troy Coughlin was able to take care of business with him, and then it ended up with this big race that everybody was waiting for. We didn't have to wait long. It was right there in round one. Greg Anderson versus Erica Enders, the race where Erica Enders calls out her shot and loses it in round number one to Greg Anderson. Greg Anderson decides to pick Troy Coughlin Jr. That sets up the matchup between Derek Kramer and Matt Harford. Then you get your final round matchup of Greg Anderson and Matt Harford. Greg Anderson wins the All-Star All-Star call-out. And he was talking about how big of a deal it was. You would have already seen how big of a win this is for him because of the fact that he missed out last year and he hated that. Now it comes back here and wins this one. So a huge deal for them. It's going to be a big question on whether or not it's going to follow over into tomorrow because, as Erica said, they know that they're better than them. That's her words, not mine. And it's going to be very challenging because you know how fast Jeg is, you know how fast Troy is, and you better know how fast Eric is. So it's going to make tomorrow so much more interesting because of the fact of whether or not Elite has what it takes to be able to finally get around them and take the win away from them. And then, of course, Pro Stock Motorcycle as well. The Matt Smith-Gage Herrera duel just keeps getting better. Matt Smith looks like he has it turned around, but the big question is going to be whether or not Gage can respond and if Vance and Hines can turn that around and get the win. In Funny Car and Top Fuel, it's anybody's game. I have no way of deciding that just because of how hard it is. It could come down between J.R. Todd and Austin Prock. That's probably my top two picks right now just based on the track conditions. Bob Tasker III could easily sneak in there. Matt Hagan looked really strong. Ron Capps kind of fell to the wayside, I'm not sure. Paul Lee and Chad Green looked strong as well. So there's a lot of ways to go there. And in Top Fuel, I mean, take your pick. Justin Ashley, Ashley, Clay Milliken, TJ Zizzo looks really strong. Just go down the list. It's really hard to decide, and there's going to be a ton of upsets tomorrow and a lot of tire smoke. So if you like the content that we've been providing, be sure to subscribe today to the channel. Be sure to like, comment, and share the video to everybody you know, as well for the fact of supporting our sponsors, Peak Auto and Drag Race Biker Bonanza. Be sure to support them with the links below, especially Drag Race Biker Bonanza. Sign up today and play that game. It's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. And until Sunday afternoon, this has been Mighty Mac, and we'll see you next time.